Mars is one of the deepest locations you can visit in Yume Nikki. You first need to go to the Staircase of Hands, an area you can only access by a random chance using one of the 5 beds scattered throughout the Nexus worlds. From there, you need to head down to Underground World, where you must traverse to the storage room in order to get to the spaceship. Here you'll meet a man known as Sakam Masada, who drifts through space all alone with only his piano for company. He's important, but we'll get back to him later. From the spaceship, you must enter the dormitory, where you'll get a 1 in 6 chance of Marotsuki falling asleep in the bed. If that happens, upon waking up, you'll have triggered the spaceship crash event. You'll awaken to the sound of a blaring alarm, and after a brief cutscene, you'll find yourself crash-landed on Mars. From the spaceship, head west, where you'll find a mountain. There's a very small hole that could only be entered using the Kobito effect. Traveling down the stairs, you'll enter the deepest point of Mars, where you'll be met with the most tragic creature in the entire game, Marson. The music that plays here is known as Kienai Kizuato, which can be roughly translated to indelible scars. Does it sound familiar? Marson is completely isolated, seemingly the only living being on the entire planet. They're injured and crying, but there isn't anyone there to hear. Well, except for Marotsuki. But by this point it's clear Marson is beyond real help. But you could choose to sit down and stay a while, offering temporary companionship to someone who likely hasn't had any visitors in a long while, if ever. Who else do we know who is alone in the dark? Who hasn't spoken to anyone in a very long time, completely isolated from everyone and everything. We can make jokes about Asgore's truck, but it's a known fact that car crashes are a huge theme in Yume Nikki, so the car accident theory still holds genuine merit. Perhaps Marson, a character conjured up from the depths of Marotsuki's subconsciousness, is representative of a victim of a car accident. I actually don't subscribe to the Asgore hit Death's truck theory though, only for the memes. What I do believe, however, is that Des found herself trapped between realities and lost herself completely in the process. Hence the song title, Lost Girl, and in her absence, indelible scars were left behind on all who knew her. But anyway, let's talk about this guy. Sakam Masada is also isolated, floating aimlessly alone through space. Sakam Masada is also a character relevant to Deltarune, due to the fact that a song that plays in each of the hidden egg rooms is the very same song that Toby Fox wrote as a Yume Nikki fan song titled The Waltz of Sakam Masada. It used to be a common belief that the Forgotten Man was our good pal Wingding's Gaster, well known to be an Easter egg reference to the Ubor event from Yume Nikki. And the egg rooms are definitely still a direct reference to Poniko's house, having to walk between rooms multiple times until you eventually trigger the event. But as the Forgotten Man lore is expanded upon in chapters 3 and 4, it's become increasingly clear that Gaster and the Forgotten Man are not one and the same. In chapter 4, the egg room is seemingly set in a hospital, specifically where Kris appears to have gone in the past for art therapy sessions. It's made clear during this sequence that Kris saw something traumatic in the past. And the tree we typically find the Forgotten Man hidden behind is representative of a mental block that Kris uses to forget whatever it was they saw that day. When Kris tries to draw what they saw, they are unable to do so, instead drawing a large tree to hide it. Most fans believe that the trauma Kris is suppressing has something to do with Des's disappearance. Yume Nikki is also about trauma, though nothing is explicitly stated as there is no dialogue or obvious plot in the game. Much of the imagery implies past violence, using car accidents and dismemberment to show Marotsuki's dark past. Wait, dismemberment? Uh-oh. Now allow me to force you to listen to Made Up Yume Nikki's, a short album that Toby Fox created back in 2012. It feels particularly relevant not only due to the waltz of Zakon Masada being used in the game, but also because of a particular track called Amphitheater, which may or may not have been teased as a track in a future Deltarune chapter. During the Bibliox Proofread Act, there are 9 possible words you have to correct the spelling of. 5 of these words are the names of songs on the Deltarune OST, so many believe that the remaining 4 are the names of future tracks. This is especially obvious due to one of the words being festival, and of course we know that Chapter 5 will be set during a festival. One of these words is amphitheater. Okay, no more stalling, let's listen to Made Up Yume Nikki's. Dark Tunnel sounds very similar to a lot of the ambient music that plays throughout Deltarune, but isn't specific enough to be too relevant. Lonely Room bears vague similarity to Lost Girl, and the title makes me think specifically of Susie and Rousey's bedrooms, as well as Kris and Dessa's bedrooms. There are a lot of lonely rooms in Deltarune. The Queen of Nowhere on Reddit also made note that Toby Fox released Made Up Yume Nikki's around the same time that he originally started working on Deltarune. Therefore, it's not entirely unlikely that some of these tracks were originally made for Deltarune and then repurposed for Made Up Yume Nikki's, only to be repurposed again for Deltarune. But of course, there's no way to prove any of this unless Toby himself says so. Anyway, all this to say is that if you're a Deltarune fan and you haven't played Yume Nikki before, please go do so. It's not as intimidating as Homestuck, and you might learn something neat about Deltarune hidden amid the strange ambient dreamscapes. You might even get to meet Onion-san. Thank you for watching. I'm weebab.exe, a cute computer virus-themed VTuber idol. I'm well known by my viewers for having really bad Yume Nikki and Deltarune brain rot, but this is my first time making a video like this, so please be nice. I hope you have a lovely day or night wherever you are, and I hope to see you again really soon. Bye bye!